6R. That's sick.
What is up, Moto heads? Hey, I hope you all are having a fantastic new year so far. Yeah, it's 2025. I'm excited to get started in this next season for the next riding season. Right now, it's a little bit of a struggle bus that we're on right now because it's 12 degrees outside and not much riding going on. I know here in New York, upstate New York. But what I wanted to do is let you know that as soon as the weather breaks, I plan on doing some nice demos. Moto-vlog's gonna be coming back in full effect. Also, I've got some new camera gear for Christmas, so I'm gonna be using that. And I'm excited for the next riding season to come up. So, that being said, I know a lot of you, if you're anything like me, I use this time, or I was using this time before I got my bikes, to kind of do research on my bike, my next purchase, right? So one thing the term I've used a lot since I've purchased the 8R and the RS660 is the term middleweight sport bike, right? The market segment for middleweight sport bikes is vast. There's a ton of different bikes that are out there. And one thing that I want to make sure I focus on is kind of differentiating between your street first, performance second versus performance first, street second bikes that are out there. There are also some bikes that blend or split the difference, and I think the RS660 falls into that. But yeah, I want to take some time to kind of go over several bikes that are out there that are going to fall in to either one category or the other. Sport first, street second, street first, performance second, right? So there's several bikes that I'm gonna go over, and I'll give some specs and numbers, and just hopefully this helps you out with determining, for yourself, if you're looking for another bike. Okay, am I looking for a street first bike, or am I looking for a performance first bike? Or am I looking for something that's kind of splits the difference? So I hope you enjoyed the video coming up. And I know I did promise a RS660 review, full review, that's coming. And also a comparison between the RS660 and the 8R. I definitely have a favorite. And I will be issuing that video in the coming weeks. So I haven't forgotten about it at all. But I hope you enjoyed this video. All right, y'all. All right, we're gonna kick things off with the Ninja ZX6R, MSRP $12,399 with ABS. This is gonna be considered your high-end performance first sport bike. 127 horsepower, inline 4. This bike is gonna have a seating position focused on performance and track. Next, we have the 2024 GSX R750. This bike has a 750cc four-cylinder engine that makes approximately 128 horsepower at 12,600 RPMs and about 56 pound-feet of torque at 11,000 RPM. This bike is the Goldilocks, a lot of folks say, as far as that performance first bike. It's got a smaller chassis that's shared with the GSX-R 600, but you have a larger displacement 750cc four-cylinder engine. So people that own this bike love it, and it hasn't been updated in a while, but hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Next, we have the Suzuki GSX-R 600. This one has a 599cc four-stroke liquid-cooled dual overhead cam. MSRP on this one is $11,899 with about $560 in destination and freight charges. Again, another performance-focused machine. Okay, this one shares the same platform or the same chassis as the 750, but the 750 has a larger 750cc four-cylinder engine. Power numbers on this are about 103 horsepower at 13.5 RPM and 44 pound-feet of torque at 11.5 RPM. Next, we have the Honda CBR 600 RR. This one starts about $12,199 with about $600 in freight. Comes in about 121 horsepower at 14,000 RPM and about 47.2 pound-feet of torque at 11.5 RPM. Very committed performance-first bike. A lot of us are waiting for this 2025 R9 from Yamaha. It's got an 890cc liquid-cooled dual overhead cam inline 3-cylinder, okay? This one has a horsepower rating of approximately 121 horsepower. So this one is also going to come in at about $12,499 plus freight and any surcharges associated with this. This bike has a lot of people drooling for its release here. So I can't wait to try this bike out. Hopefully there's going to be one at a demo or at least get some eyes on it. Again, performance first, street second. Yamaha is trying to blend the line here a little bit so it can be used both on the track as well as for street use. All right, so I've covered a couple of the performance first or several of the performance first middleweight sport bikes. The other thing I want to add to this is that most of these bikes are going to come with higher end components than you get on a street first middleweight sport bike, right? You're going to have a lot of times Brumbos or Stylemas that might come with the middleweight performance first sport bike. You're going to have an advanced rider suite. You're going to have things like the 6-axis IMU. You're going to have wheelie control. You're going to have advanced levels of traction control, lift control, wheelie control. And you can dial these things in and they're so that you can get the most out of the bike. You're also going to experience things like a more compromised or I should say a more performance focused riding position on these bikes. You're not going to be as comfortable as something like an 8R or the CBR 650R. So I've touched on a lot of the performance-based middleweight sport bikes. Next, we're going to talk about the street first middleweight sport bikes. The other thing I want to mention before I get into that is with the performance-based middleweight sport bikes, you're looking at a higher end or more power in these bikes, at least on the top end for the horsepower, okay? And you're also going to see that these are going to have a higher price point than a lot of the street-focused middleweight sport bikes. So those are some things to consider if you're shopping and if you're looking at price points. Generally speaking, the performance-based middleweight sport bikes are going to be more expensive than the street focus because you don't have to have all those components. A lot of the times, in most of these cases or those examples I provided, they are going to have inline fours or four-cylinder engines, which are going to be more high revving than what you would get on like a parallel twin, which are going to give you that bottom end torque. So we'll talk about the middleweight sport bikes next for street first. Next, we have the tried and true Ninja 650. This bike starts around $82.99. Fully maxed out is about $88.99 for this bike. The Ninja 650 is going to give you about 67 horsepower and about 48.5 pound-feet of torque. That's going to come around 6,500 RPMs for that torque and 8,000 RPMs for the horsepower. So a great entry level middleweight sport bike that's going to be great for a new rider. Next, we have the GSX 8R. This one's going to come in about $9,600 plus about $530 in destinations. I was 11 out the door, including New York State taxes and things like that. This bike has got a 776cc 4-stroke liquid cool dual overhead cam parallel twin with a 270-degree firing order. This bike has a lot of great tech. I do think this is a great bike that has a ton of aftermarket support. It is based on the 8S. And with that development, a lot of the aftermarket support is already baked in on this one. The other huge thing about this bike is that it is very comfortable. I have not ridden a sport bike, middleweight sport bike, that's been this comfortable, okay? You also have about 57 pound-feet of torque, and it makes it great for that grunt. So I love this bike. Next, we have the 2025 Honda CBR 650R. This bike was revised this year. So it's going to feature that E-clutch. This one comes in at about $98.99 with about $600 in destination charges. The unique thing about the 650R, this bike, I couldn't find one before I made my purchase, but this one does have an inline 4 with 649 cc's, okay? It also has this E-clutch, which I believe is standard on this bike. You get 94 horsepower and 46 pound-feet of torque. Next, we have the R7 coming in at $91.99 with about $600 in destination fees, all right? Another 270-degree crank parallel twin, making about 73 horsepower at 8,700 RPM. This bike is going to be a little bit more focused, right? I've actually sat on this bike, and I've ridden one of these too. Higher seat height, you're getting a very committed riding position. Not a lot of tech features on this one, but it is a great middleweight sport bike. Next, we have the Triumph Daytona 660. This one comes in at $91.95 plus destination. And you're going to get a triple with this one, making about 93.6 horsepower at 12,650 RPMs with about 50 pound-feet of torque. So this is going to be another great contender in the street first middleweight sport bike criteria. And so another great contender. I love the fact that we have so many choices in this segment. All right, this one, as far as value, I don't know if you can get a better value. This one's $79.99. You get a 2-year factory warranty with it. This is the 2025 675 SS from CF Moto. It does have a triple 4-stroke liquid cooled dual overhead cam engine, 675cc triple. You've got 95 horsepower at 11,000 RPM and 51.6 pound-feet of torque at 8,250 RPM. So this one is packing a punch, and you can't beat this price. The other thing I noticed about CF Moto is they pack a lot of technology into their bikes at a insane price point. So if you're looking, this is a great entry point. And just like the Triumph, it does feature a triple, which is a unique engine for this segment. All right, so we've got the RS660, last but certainly not least. This one starts at $11,549 for base on the 24, and then $13,499 for the Extrema for the 2024. There is a slight redesign for 25 You're also going to get a factory version, which both bikes will make 105 horsepower. You've got a 270-degree crank parallel twin. This bike is packed full of tech. I love the styling on this bike, and it's a great blend as far as comfort. It is not as comfortable as the 8R. I want to mention that. Not even close. But it's not as committed as something like your CBR. There's a slight redesign for 2025. So if you like the styling of the 24, or you like the 24, maybe you can score a deal, pick one up on the 24. All right, as you can tell, this market is packed with a ton of options. Knowing what's important to you is going to help you with making an informed decision on what bike you purchase. Are you someone looking for a street first middleweight sport bike? Something that you can commute with, something that you can daily, something that has good comfort, right? Are you looking for that, or are you looking for something with an edge? Something that has a potentially a high revving inline four cylinder, or high, something that balances torque with top end like a triple. What are you looking for? Are you looking for something that's got more of a committed riding position, or are you looking for something that's more relaxed? For me, I fall closer into the segment of street first. I love the comfort on the 8R. I love the fact that it has huge aftermarket support, which, you could start off with the 8R factory, and then as you go, change it up, add some enhancements to make sure, to make that performance closer to where you want it. Likewise with the RS660, I think that bike is a great blend between the high-end, like the performance-based middleweight sport bike and the street-based middleweight sport bike. So it's a great blend bike. And both bikes are great. I love both of them. But what you really want to do is just make sure when you go to those dealerships, when you sign or when you plop down your cash, you know exactly what you're getting, and you know exactly what you want. More importantly, exactly what you want. Because there's just so many options and choice there, which is a good thing. Anytime there's a new bike that's released, I applaud, because you don't have as many options in different things like cars, right? Everything's a crossover now. When I see manufacturers saying, hey, let's hit this demographic or that demographic, I think that's a good thing. And I think that brings more riders. I think that brings more choice. And I think that it's good for us as bike enthusiasts, right? So all that being said, I hope this video helped at least identify bikes that may fall into the different categories. There are a couple bikes in there that blended, best of both worlds, or at least put you in a place where you have some balance there. So to each his own or her own. What bike are you interested in? That list of bikes that we went over today, is there a bike that stands out to you? Are you looking for one of those bikes? Or do you own one of those bikes? And are you happy with your purchase, or would you wish you have done more research, or maybe fall into a different portion of that segment? I appreciate y'all for watching, and continue to check out the videos. More to come. Like I said, that RS660 reviews coming out, and then the comparison between the 8R and the RS660 is on its way as well. Again, I have a favorite, but I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll check you on the next one, y'all. Peace.